Hello students and welcome back again to our science classes and science videos. So we're now heading to our 6th module and we only have 2 modules left for us to finish the first quarter. So meron na lamang tayong 3 linggo para tapusin ang first quarter and I hope that you are able to finish all the modules na sinasagutan nyo from our previous weeks and itong videos na ginagawa natin ay sana nakakatulong sa inyong lessons. For module number 6, our focus of discussion today is about biodiversity. Now, this biodiversity is not new to us. Hindi ito bago. Pero na lang kung limot nyo na yung ating discussion from the grade 8. Kasi from our grade 8, na-discuss na natin si biodiversity and this is just a continuation of our learnings on the biodiversity. So the focus of our discussion today in our video is about the importance of biodiversity and our main objective is to relate the species extinction to the failure of population to adapt to abrupt changes in environment. Since changes in environment is happening continuously, tuloy-tuloy ang pagbabago na nararanasan natin in our environment, and this environment is used to be the habitat also of other living organisms, hindi lang naman tayong tao, ang living organisms na nabubuhay dito sa ating environment. At may iba pang living organisms na nakikinabang sa environment natin. This changes in the environment is somewhat one of the reasons why extinction in species or in animals is happening. So the focus of our discussion today is to discuss the species extinction and the different changes in the environment that causes this extinction. So did you know that in an ecosystem, there is a need of organisms to have a balanced environment? Kailangan ang environment natin ay balanse para sa lahat ng living organisms na nakikinabang sa environment. But what is happening nowadays is it is now becoming unbalanced. Kasi mas masyadong, syempre, pumapabor with the living organisms, specifically humans, sa atin, tao, mas tayo ang nakikinabang sa ating environment and we set aside the other species that is also living in our same environment. But what is needed is to be a balanced environment for all the living organisms. So ano ba ang ibig sabihin natin when we say balanced ecosystem? Balancing ecosystem. It is mean that balanced ecosystem should be where the living and the non-living things are interacting harmoniously. Sabihin, harmonious, mapayapa. Ibig sabihin, dapat mapayapa ang interaction ng non-living things at living things if the ecosystem is balanced. Walang problema kung balanse, kung parehas na nakikinapang. But what if the question is, paano kung hindi balanse? And mostly, how does the changes in our environment na karaniwan na humans ang cause, karaniwan, hindi naman ibig sabihin na tayo lang talagang humans ang dahilan sa pagbabago ng environment, but mostly humans contribute to the change in the environment, affect the survival of other species. Paano ba nakaka-apekto itong mga pagbabago na nangyayari sa environment natin para mabuhay ang ibang species? So let us have first a photo quiz. This photo quiz is taken from the old module of grade 9 science that we are using from the previous year. So I got this activity or quiz in order for us to give a pre-assessment for our module number 6. And this photo quiz, from the word photo quiz, meaning to say, gagamit ako ng mga iba't ibang images or pictures at huhulaan ninyo kung ano bang klase ng change in the environment ang ipinapakita dun sa picture. So, let's start. Number 1. Is it taking animals for profit or destruction of habitat? So, the answer is taking animals for profit. Kinuha ang animals para pagkakitaan. Obviously, that is a zoo. And before you enter the zoo, syempre, you have to pay for the entrance fee. Kinuha ang animals para ilagay sa isang lugar para kunan ng profit. So, that's it. Next, number 2. Is it over-harvesting or destruction of habitat? So, number 2 is showing destruction of habitat. So, mean to say, sinira natin ang isang habitat na tinitirhan ng mga monkeys. Pinutol natin ang puno kung saan dun sila tumitira. So, we destruct their habitat. Then, last, number 3. Is it over-harvesting or hunting? So, the answer is over-harvesting. So, meaning to say, kumukuha ng sobra-sobra para ipagbenta. Over, ibig sabihin sobra-sobra. Sobra-sobra ang pag-harvest ng mga isda, which is too much. Yeah, so in our photo quiz, we just simply show some of the 3 changes in the environment that is happening, such as taking animals for profit, destruction of habitat, and overharvesting. Hindi lang yun, meron pang iba. Pero yun pang yung preliminary na usually na nakikita natin na pagbabago sa ating environment. Now, I want you to look on this image. So this image is the image of biodiversity. When we say bio means life, buhay. Diversity meaning differences, pagkakaiba-iba. So mean to say, in the biodiversity, kitang-kita naman natin, we have a planet. And inside the planet and outside the planet, there are different images of different living organisms na makikita natin within the planet. So mean to say, ang ipinatukoy sa atin ng biodiversity ay isang lugar na lahat ay may buhay, pero magkakaiba. Magkakasama sa isang planeta. We only have one planet, but inside this planet, we have variety. Ibig sabihin, iba't ibang klase ng may buhay. So, we call it biodiversity. It is living in one planet with millions of different species of living things. Means say, makakakita ka ng higit pa sa milyon na iba't ibang klase ng organisms or species that are living things, aside pa sa mga non-living things. So that is what we call as biodiversity. Bio means life, diversity meaning differences, variety means to say, inside this planet, you will see a life that is different. Sabihin, iba't ibang klase ng living organisms makikita natin within the biodiversity. Now, so during summers, people love to go to beach. Yan. So, have you ever tried to do snorkeling? So, pag nag-snorkeling, dive tayo sa water, sa ocean, at dun makakakita tayo ng iba't ibang magagandang scene sa ilalim ng dagat. So, somewhat makakita tayo ng school of fish, makakita tayo ng iba't ibang klase ng isda, coral reefs, kung medyo mas malalim-lalim yung iyong lalangoyin. But all in all, what we will see there is a different species of fish. Iba't ibang klase ng species ng isda. So, in that kind of situation, ang tawag natin dun is population. When we say population is a group of living things grupo ng mga bagay na may buhay, group of living things in a certain area that are of same species. Nabubuhay sa isang lugar, certain area, na halos pare-parehas ang species. And an example of that is ocean. What we will see there are the different species of fishes, mean to say isang lugar, kagaya ng dagat, na may pare-parehas na klase ng species ang naninirahan. So we call it as populasyon ng tao, kasi pare-parehas na tao ang makikita mo doon. So when we say population, an example of that is our ocean, na may pare-parehas na klase ng species ang makikita mo. Now, let us see these two images. So we have here, under the ocean, and we will see there a cornfield. Taniman ng mais. Is there any difference that you will see between the two images? Yes, of course. On the first image, what we will see, there are different kind of species of fish. And on the second image, what we will see there is only a corn. A species of corn. Mais lamang ang makikita mo doon. So, anong pinagkaiba? Sa image number 1, makakakita ka ng maraming iba't ibang klase ng species, while on image number 2 is only one kind of species, which is corn. Now, anong meron kapag maraming species at anong meron naman kapag iisang klase ng species lang makikita mo? Now, when it comes to survival, there is a greater, mas malaking chance of survival if the community ay mas maraming klase ng species. Pag mas madami, mas maganda. Why? Because they can easily adapt to the changes in environment. Mas madali silang maka-adapt. When we say adapt, mas madali silang makapag-adjust sa pagbabago ng environment. Ibig sabihin, pabor sa mas madaming klase ng species ang makikita mo sa isang community. But if the community is on image number 2, which is only one type of species, which is corn, there is a little chance or few chance of survival para sa isang klase lang ng species when it comes to the changes in the environment. Ibig sabihin, sa pagbabago ng environment natin, sa mga nararanasan natin pagbabago, mas malaki ang chance na makapag-survive o makasurvive ang community na may mas madaming species na makikita kesa sa iisang klase lang ng species ang iyong makikita. Okay, you take note of this. Ecosystem and our environment should have a balanced organisms. Kailangan balanse. For example, sa isang environment, ang kasya dito ay 50 pig. 15 baboy ang kasya. Ibig sabihin, hindi lang kasya when it comes to their sizes. Mean to say, kasya para makasurvive, kasya para mabuhay, kasya para makakain ng lahat. While, ang nangyari, you add up, for example, 10. Dinagdagan mo ng 10 baboy. Yung isang lugar na ang kaya lang na capacity ay 50. So, naging 60 ngayon ang baboy sa isang lugar. So, ngayon, hindi na siya balanse. Bakit hindi naging balanse? Maybe because yung pagkain na sasapat sa 50 na baboy, dahil naging 60 dumami, yung pagkain na sasapat sa kanila ay magkukulang at there is chances na may baboy na hindi makasurvive. It is because their ecosystem is not balanced with the number of organisms that is found on that environment. So, mean to say, para ang lahat ay makasurvive, para walang maiwan, kailangan ang environment natin ay balanse with the ecosystem at balanse sa ating organisms. Parang sa classroom. Kung for example, meron lang akong 40 na upuan sa classroom ko. 40. Ibig sabihin, ilang estudyante lang ang kayang umupo sa loob ng classroom ko. So, kaya lang dun sa loob ng classroom ko ay 40 na estudyante. Pero ang pumunta sa klase ko, for example, ay 50 students. So, ibig sabihin, merong 10 estudyante ang hindi makakaupo at merong 10 estudyante ang nakatayo. So, mean to say, hindi balanse ang classroom para sa estudyante. So, ibig sabihin, hindi na agad balanse. So, mean to say, in the ecosystem and the environment, kung ilan lang ang kaya ng capacity mo, hanggang ganun lang dapat ang organisms. Pero yung kulang at sobra ay hindi na makakatulong o hindi na makakabalanse with the ecosystem and the environment. So the question is, bakit ba nangyayari ang unbalanced ecosystem? Bakit may hindi balanse? So once that the population changes in size, halimbawa, sa isang green field na to, it can only accommodate 10 cow. 10 baka lang. 10 baka lang kaya i-accommodate nung green field. Nadagdagan ngayon. Naging 11, naging 12, naging 13, naging 14. Bakit napadagdag? Because maybe nawalan sila ng habitat, kaya kailangan nilang mag-migrate sa ibang lugar na kung saan meron ng gumagamit. Sabihin, pumunta sila sa isang lugar kasi yung kanilang habitat ay nawala na. Sabihin, baka nakuha na, nagamit na ng iba, or na-distract yung habitat nila. So, the tendency is pumunta sila sa lugar kung saan pwede silang mabuhay. Yun nga lang, yung lugar na pinuntahan nila ay nakasikip sila dun sa lugar. So, the tendency is unbalanced na yung environment natin para sa kanila kasi merong mawawalan, meron namang sobra ang makukuha. Or, pwede rin namang population change in size, lumiit naman. Kasi nga, pwedeng naagawan siya ng pagkain, hindi siya nakasurvive, namatay. So, nabawasan naman yung ating population. And this population change in size, pagbabago ng populasyon sa isang lugar, maybe one of the reason is the changes in our environment. Yung mga pagbabago na kagaya ng example natin kanina. Yung tinitirhan nila, pwedeng na-distract yung habitat nila at pumunta sila sa ibang lugar. Kinakailangan nilang mag-migrate. But the problem is, not all organisms na lumilipat ay nakaka-adapt sa lugar na pupuntahan nila. And others may adapt to the environment na bago nilang pupuntahan. Ibig sabihin, magkakaiba kasi ang species or organisms. Merong mabilis maka-adapt, meron din namang hindi. So, let us have this case number 1. So, for example, there are 1,000 species of tamaraw that is found in Mindoro. After 5 years, the species of tamaraw decreased to about 500 tamaraws. Yung dating 1,000, after 5 years, naging 500. Sabihin, kalahati agad ang nawala. So, pwedeng nawalan sila ng habitat, pwede rin namang hindi sila nakasurvive, kaya umunti ang species nila. So, we have many other reasons due to the changes in the environment. Now, anong itatawag natin once na yung ating species ay biglang nabawasan, parang umuunti ang kanilang lahi? So, we call it as threatened species. What do we mean by threatened species? So, threatened species is particular species that declines so fast. Diba, after 5 years, 5 taon lang nakalipas, kalahati na agad ang bilang nila. What more pa sa mga darating na taon? Ibig sabihin, biglang nag-decline, ibig sabihin biglang bumaba ang bilang ng species ng isang hayop, so we call it as threat. Parang nakakatakot na, nakakabahala na kasi medyo bumibilis ang pagkaubos o pag-unti ng species na ito. So we call it as threatened. When we say threatened, the particular species is declining so fast. Now, case number 2. Philippine eagle or monkey-eating eagle with a number of 100 species, isandaang species, suddenly declined into 10 species. Yung isandaan biglang naging 10 species. Ano nang itatawag natin doon? So that is now called as endangered species. When we say endangered, danger, ibig sabihin, delikado na. Kanina nakaka-threat lang, kanina nakakatakot lang, nakakabahala lang na umuunti sila. Ngayon, danger, ibig sabihin, delikado na. Talagang umuunti na sila. From 100, biglang naging 10. So, we call it as endangered. Anong ikinaiba ng threatened sa endangered? When we say endangered, when the species population becomes so low that only few remain. Sabihin, bumaba o nag-decrease ang kanilang population at kakaunti na lamang ang natitira. Unlike sa threatened, na nakakabahala pa lang. Meaning to say, meron pa silang species, marami-rami pa rin naman, pero nakakabahala dahil mabilis ang pagkabawas ng kanilang species. So, that's threatened. When we say naman, endangered, ibig sabihin dangerous na baka maubos sila. So, meron pang kaunting natitira. So, umuunti na yung kanilang species, pero kokonti na yung natitira. What if walang-wala na? So, our case number 3 is dinosaurs, which are no longer exist today, but it's part of our history. Sabihin, wala ka nang makikita na kahit isa sa panahon ngayon. So that is what we call as extinct species. When we say extinct species occurs when the last member of this species die. Sabihin, walang-wala nang natitira kahit na isa. Pag meron pang konting natitira, that's endangered. Pag naman marami-rami pa, we call it as threatened. Kapag walang-wala na kahit isa, so that is now called extinct species. Talking about extinction, pagkawala o pagkaubos ng species, is it part of evolution or caused by humans? Or both? Ang extinction ba ay normal na nangyayari dahil sa pagbabago, sa evolution? O caused by humans? Talagang ang dahilan nito ay humans? O pwede rin naman both? Parehas. So what would be our answer? So the answer is both. Pwede rin naman kasing part of the evolution, meron nga ding dahil gawa ng natural, may mga pangyayaring bumaha, bumagyo, pagsabog ng mga bulkan, tsunamis, and other natural occurrences. Pero, majority of the cost of extinction of animals are mainly because of humans. Mean to say, parehas pwedeng galing sa evolution, pwedeng natural made, pero mostly, ang dahilan ng pagka-extinct ng isang species ay dahil sa humans, because of the human act. How? Paano? If humans greatly affect the extinction rate of species, and one of the reasons of species extinction is habitat loss, pagkawala ng tirahan ng species. Why? Bakit talamak ang pagka-habitat loss ng mga species na usually na na-extinct? It is due to, number one, of course, deforestation. Deforestation is rapid rate of which trees are cut down. At alam na alam naman natin ang mga rason kung bakit kinakailangan nating putulin ang mga puno, patagin ang mga forest, gawing malawak na lugar, maybe because of the industry, factories, subdivisions, and other resources, mainly for humans. So, syempre, yung habitat loss, pagka wala na kanilang habitat, inagaw natin para tayo humans ang gumamit. Hindi naman sa sinasadya, just because humans are also increasing in number. Increase in number of humans is equivalent also to the increase of usage in the ecosystem and in the environment. So the tendency is kuhain ang habitat ng species para gamitin ng humans. Aside from deforestation, number 2, water pollution. Pollutants in the water that causes mass death of fish. Yung mga pollution na nabibigay natin in the water na nakakaapekto para sa mga species na tumitira sa tubig. So that's also one of the main reasons for the extinction rate of the species in the water. Next, number 3, air pollution. Air pollution causes the greenhouse effect and leads to global warming and climate change. Na not all species adapt to change in climate. Because there are those species that are sanay sa malamig, natutunaw ang mga yelo because of too much heat in our environment, at yung environment nila ay nababago. And sabi natin kanina, not all species can adapt to these changes. And the last one is destruction of the coastal resources, ang pagpapasabog sa ilalim ng tubig para makakuha ng maraming isda para pagbenta. Ang kapalit naman is the destruction of the coastal resources sa ilalim ng dagat, which is the habitat of the fish. So those are some of the reasons for the habitat loss that contributes to the extinction of the species that is mainly caused by humans. So let me have you this ending quotation about extinction. So it's not whether animals will survive, but it's whether man has will to save them. Mean to say, hindi kung makakasurvive ang animals, but it is whether man, tayo humans, would save them. If tayo humans will care for them and will care for them to survive. Kasi kahit anong gawing survive na yung animals, if we will not humans save them, hindi rin talaga sila mag-survive. And this ends for our discussion for the module number 6. So this discussion on module number 6 is quite self-explanatory discussion kasi it's more on realization of what is happening to our environment today, not necessarily a discussion na mabigat kagaya nung discussion natin on the genetics, but this is just to give you quite an additional information about the extinction. And I hope this quite give you a clear idea about the differences between the threatened, the endangered, and the extinct species. And mostly the discussion is about you, as what you have realized on what is happening to our environment. The same thing as you, ikaw, are you living in a balanced ecosystem na wala kang naapektuhang ibang species for you to have your own survival, 'di ba? So I hope that you get what we will discuss for module number 6, and this is not quite used for the module kasi the module for number 6 ay puro pang sarili mo. Kasi it's a self-assessment on you, on how you live for the others, especially for other species. So this ends our discussion for our lecture on module number 6. And I do hope that you have get at least an idea and a realization for our discussion. And I hope to see you all again for our next videos for the modules 7 and 8. Thank you again for listening to our video, and see you on the next video.